If we're looking at whether Russia has been able to increase anti-American sentiments in the Middle East, it certainly has been effective, right?
تصاعد واضح للخطاب الروسي الموجه لمنطقة الشرق الأوسط. خطاب يحاول تصدير وجهة النظر الروسية الرسمية في ملفات استراتيجية تمس المواطن في الدول العربية.
Basically, over the last 2.5 years, particularly until October 7th, we've seen Russia in the Middle East very much focusing its influence operations and particularly its propaganda on trying to influence Middle Eastern audiences on the war. Initially trying to rally Arabs to side with Russia in the war. And when that didn't work out quite that well, to influence audiences across the Middle East to blame not Russia for the war, but to blame the West for the war.
الخطاب الروسي يعتمد على عدة أدوات، بعضها حكومية مثل وكالة سبوتنيك وشبكة روسيا اليوم الإعلامية التي تمتلك قنوات بلغات مختلفة بينها العربية، لكن روسيا تستخدم أدوات أخرى أيضاً.
These tools, Sputnik and RT, have been the strongest ones. They have basically in the Middle East over the last 2 years free reign. They can say whatever they want, as many lies as possible. But then, like everywhere else, we have a heavy use of social media, everything from deep fakes to memes to cartoons to all kinds of visual tools. We see the same kinds of stories or disinformation campaigns repeated by policymakers. One example, the white helmets in Syria, that Russia with the foreign minister Lavrov and with Sputnik and with RT blamed for chemical attacks in Syria. We know now that, confirmed by the United Nations, that this was in fact the Russian-backed regime that was executing these chemical attacks against the population in Syria.
الحملات الروسية في الشرق الأوسط تحاكي سياسات الاتحاد السوفيتي أثناء الحرب الباردة، فهي لا تستهدف الدول العربية فحسب، بل تعمل على زرع الخلافات بينها وبين الغرب.
Over the past few years, Russia has been successful in creating further divisions between the West, as in the United States, and the European Union as a bloc, and the Middle East. The one example that I'm thinking of that I think is the most obvious in this instance is 2015 and the migration wave that Europe has faced from the Middle East, either as a source or as a path towards Europe. The migration crisis itself, we tend to forget, was created when in the year that Russia intervened in Syria and started what we call carpet bombing.
في السنوات الأخيرة تزايدت الجهود الروسية للتأثير على الرأي العام العربي، ومعها تتزايد أهمية العمل على مكافحة حملات التأثير ورفع مستوى الوعي ضد التضليل الإعلامي والرقمي.
And so if I measure through this lens, which is Russia's lens, how effective has been Russia and the Kremlin in creating further divisions and deepening anti-Western sentiments overall, separating EU and the United States, it's been really effective. And so looking ahead, again, we do not have a lot of tools to counter that in the Middle East. The audiences are pretty exposed to Russian propaganda and disinformation.